Yeah, welcome back to the channel, people. Big up to every single one of you. Make sure you're doing me a favor in the house and hitting the like button. And of course, the subscribe button. Make sure you're following Lee Judges on all socials, Lee Judges TV, and of course, Football's 12th Man as well, as we look to hit the big 4-0 and on this channel, the big 5-0. So please make sure you get us there, people. Big up to all of you guys that are here nice and early in the chat. Big up to everybody that's watching on catch up as well. Lee, haven't caught up with you much this week, mate. We've both been busy. How you been? All right?
Yeah. Been busy, So it's been an all right week, isn't it? It's been an all right week. Manchester City getting dumped out of the Champions League. Spent all that money in the January transfer window and still got smashed. Funny enough, like as much as I'm happy about them getting smashed, I'm a Manchester City fan on Sunday.
Well, after last night, mate, Liverpool dropping points.
Yes.
We might as well start there, bruv. What did you make of it?
Do you know what? I'm going to say this now. I was more impressed with them yesterday, getting a point, than I was on Sunday against Wolves. I thought that was a good performance. I know they didn't win it in the end, but I don't think many teams would have won that game last night, to be fair. And I look at that game against Villa. That's our game against Nottingham Forest. Going to be a similar sort of game. I actually was quite impressed with Liverpool yesterday, but they could quite easily draw or lose against Man City, and that would put us in a fantastic position if, and it's a big if, we win Saturday. So all of a sudden, there's a little bit of a pressure on us on Saturday now, because of that, because we don't really know what's going to go on. We don't know what sort of team selection. We don't know how we're going to play. It's all a little bit up in the air of us at the moment. But listen, I think you've got to say that they looked a little bit flustered at times yesterday in Liverpool. And I don't care, if we can get the result on Saturday, they will be looking over their shoulder a little bit. Do you know why? Because we know what it's exactly like, But I think at the end of the day, Liverpool may look back at that and go, that's a good point. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, there's a saying, you learn something new every day, right? And I learned something new today. I didn't watch any football last night. I was busy, right? I didn't watch Real Madrid or Man City, and I didn't watch Liverpool Villa. There's two reasons for that. One, I was busy and I was going out. The other one was I actually was quite convinced that Liverpool were going to turn Villa over. So I was pleasantly surprised when I looked at the results and my dad texted me to say that they dropped points. The reason I say you learn something new every day is I was on a stream today with LB, Wolfie and Roms, big them all up. And if Manchester City win on Sunday and Arsenal win on Saturday, it is actually in Arsenal's hands to win the title. Only because we have got Liverpool at Anfield. Now, that does mean we have to win every single game. But it does mean that it is at least in our hands. Now, to be honest with you, Judge, I've been one of those negative Nigels for quite a while, and I'm quite happy to admit that I am. And I think I've been justifiable reasons enough as to why I've been quite negative at times this season. But to actually have the chance this weekend to say, wow, we've beaten West Ham and Manchester City have beaten Liverpool, it's now in our hands, is something I never expected to hear, if I'm honest with you. So it just goes to show that things can still go wrong for Liverpool, and it can still be a moment of madness. My only downside is I don't think Arsenal are going to win every single game from now until the end of the season. Now, in the last 12 games, we've caught Liverpool up by 2 points. We now, in the next 12, need to catch them up by 5 or 6. That's going to be difficult, especially with the fact that we've got no attack. So that's where I'm kind of at, Judge. So I don't know what your thoughts are about that.
Yeah, I get that. But also, I think that this is a different part of the season now. I totally agree. They haven't lost for so long or whatever, but these are the games when the pressure starts to tell a little bit, a little bit of anxiety moves into it all, So, listen, we can get within 2 points, and then maybe even one, and that, and then we lose a game, and then, then it's at least it's to and fro. Then, what we've got to do is at the end of the day is try and get it into our own hands. So, as I've always said, that if we can go to Anfield a point behind, 2 points behind, or even in front of them, well, that would be unbelievable. That is what we've got to try and do. That's the aim at this moment in time. So, listen, I do think that we're drop points. I think Liverpool might drop points as well. I thought they looked very edgy against Wolves. That was the one that's encouraged me more than yesterday, Dan. If I've been really honest, was that performance against Wolves. If they, when it's a different sort of a game, when you push it, I think like yesterday, maybe that suited Liverpool because it was so open. But I'm talking about teams when you've got to break teams down and you can't break them down and you're missing chances and the anxiety comes in, you get caught on the break. It's happened to them before. We'll see if it happens again, So, listen, speaking to a couple of Liverpool fans today, they're not concerned at this moment in time. But as one of them said today, if you win on Saturday and we don't win at City, then we've got to start worrying, because they have Newcastle next, and Newcastle won't want to roll over with the final just a couple of weeks away. So I think these next two games for both teams are pivotal. We've got to win on Saturday, and then we have got to go away and beat Forest. There's no two ways about that. That is, I think, a massive game now. Dare I say it, Forest are not quite in the form that they were a couple of weeks ago. Why, Dan? Because I think they've gone under the radar, and all of a sudden you've got something that you think you might have. You can see it taken away from you. So I think even the pressure's just starting to get to them. Oh, we could get Champions League football. So I think this time next week, I think we'll have a big idea what's happening in the title race.
Yeah, I think the next three games for both clubs are going to be massive. Liverpool, particularly with the fact that Villa, City and Newcastle are on their schedule. And we've got, of course, West Ham, Forest, and then we go to Old Trafford and Chelsea. And to be fair, like Kenny Ken said on the show last night, I did, or a couple of nights ago now, he said, about Fulham. I said, yeah, that don't come before Chelsea. It comes after it. But it certainly is a difficult one because last season, let's have it right, we actually weren't able to beat West Ham or Fulham, were we? And we've got them both in the coming four games. So, and Forest is going to be tough, mate. I've got to say this. Forest this season are a different Forest, and last season they made it difficult for us. If you remember, it was a big game for us. I think it was Jesus who turned up in that game last year. Certainly need someone to turn up this year, that's for sure. So it's going to be really, really easy. The only thing I will say last year on this with Liverpool is 7 bloody home games. That means pretty much seven wins at Anfield. Unless we can do something, there. Newcastle could do something there. You don't quite know with them. They're quite inconsistent. They're either brilliant or they're rubbish, So I don't know. What do you think about that? 12 games left, 7 of them at Anfield. That's big advantage Liverpool.
Yeah, and you'd expect them to win a majority of them, but I think we've got the same. We've got about the same amount of home games. I don't know about you. I worry about the home games. I worry, you know what I mean? Because I think that teams sit in and we find it very, very hard and will frustrate. So, listen, I think that, listen, at the end of the day,
we've got the same. Sorry, we got 7 at home as well. Sorry.
Yeah, if they'd have gone 10 points to clear, that was a psychological thing. Do you remember a couple of years ago we had a chance of going 10 points to clear against Man City? Didn't do it. Then we had a chance to go, we can get 8 points in front of them. Didn't do it. That's happened to them a couple of times now. So they could have been out of the way, and they haven't done it. Now all of a sudden, then they could have been 10 points in front. They actually could be 5 points in front come the weekend if we win our game. All of a sudden, bloody hell, double figures, and all of a sudden it's 5. You don't win that game, and that game in hand now would be against Chelsea. Where we could actually really force the issue if they don't get the result on Saturday. I actually think that they get something at Manchester City because I just think that they're all over the place at the minute, Man City, what I see yesterday. So they're definitely capable of getting something, but I also think they're there to be got at, and so it'd be very, very interesting what happens. The other thing is are Liverpool going to get a little bit jaded? Because if we can keep in front of them, or keep not in front of them, but keep with them, they could have and this is the unbelievable thing, is that they won the the league thing, didn't they? They could get PSG in the next round.
Yeah.
PSG or Benfica.
Benfica, they're 2 hard teams.
Not as easy on paper. I know when nothing goes on paper than our two. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that if we get someone said if we get PSV, we go down the to Bayern Munich route, don't we? But if we no, Real Madrid and then or Bayern Munich if we go the other way. So whatever happens, there's going to be tough games. But if they got PSG next round, that ain't easy, like, you know what I mean? So that's what we've got to hope for, that they get that. And you know, like the deeper and deeper they go, they could run out of steam. Who knows? Who knows? You know what I mean? But that is why I've been a little bit down about this transfer window, because we could have done something which could have just, I don't know. You know, we play Man United in between those two Champions League games now. I don't know who we've got in between the other two because I haven't looked. But if we was to, who can we rotate to from the front line to make sure that we win all three of those games? We can't. We've got to go. You know. So I that does worry me a little bit. I know that that we've got an international break, and we have a little break after those couple of games because of in the FA Cup. So we do get a little bit of a break just before the international break. But I don't know. I think that, you know, when you're going deeper into these competitions, the tougher the games, Dan, you know what I mean? So you're not going to be able to nail it over there or nail it away from home. And then, I don't know. I just feel that we just left ourselves short in that attacking area. And I think at the end of the day, that will be our downfall.
Well, look, the international break is coming up in March, right? I know that we always usually slag it off, but if I'm honest with you, this time we might actually need a bit of a break for some of our players. Not that they'll all get it from that, but you know what I'm saying. The fixtures are as follows: West Ham at the weekend, we've got Forest on Wednesday. Then we've got either Feyenoord or PSV in the Champions League, and then we go to Old Trafford, and then we've got the second leg of the Champions League the following week after that against Feyenoord or PSV, and then we got Chelsea at home.
And then it's a break, isn't it?
Then it's the international break. I think that's one of them. This is going to tell us what we need to know, isn't it, judges? Those games there are going to tell us what our season's about, whether we're still in the Champions League or not, and whether we're still in the title or not, surely.
Exactly that. Like, you know, I think the next couple of weeks, as you say, up until that Chelsea game, a pivotal to what we're going to do. As I say, I think we've got a break after that where we can have a little rest and see where it goes. Obviously, players are going to go off on international duty. I don't want to see Weri going off to under 21s or 20s or things like that. If he's not in the full national squad, keep him at home, Mikel, please, because we can't afford to have him, Mikel, Marino, and Trossard all going off on international football and being run ragged, which possibly could happen because they ain't going to care about things like titles and all that. They're worried about getting into
Lewis-skelly, they reckon, is going to get called up, don't they?
Yeah, Lewis-skelly as well. Like, at the end of the day, we can cover that a little bit. Can't cover those front three.
True. Yeah, true.
So, you know, that for me is a massive worry. But yeah, I think that listen, we've got some intriguing games coming up in April as well before that game against Liverpool. But that's a long way away yet. Like, you know, anything can happen. Lots of things can happen from there. We just got to keep. We just got to keep the pressure on. How do you keep the pressure on, Dan? Keep winning. It's as simple as that. We have to win on Saturday. We have to keep winning. As you say, I think that Chelsea would be a difficult game. Man United would be a difficult game. But then you play Fulham, who have got a little thing over us. So it's going to be a real interesting sort of scenario of it all, like, you know. And listen, I think that Liverpool will feel the pressure. I think that if I'd be really honestly, like, I think that Liverpool have just shown a little chink, and nothing major, but they've actually shown that there is pressure. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes from there, like, you know.
Well, look, start of the season, I don't like to look back, but the reason I'm going to look back is kind of feel like Mikel Arteta, as much as we were questioning it at the time, might need to take a little bit of a leaf back out of his book towards the start of this season. And what I mean by that is when we had the squad at the start of the season, we were all frustrated because of the way that we were playing. Now that we ain't got the squad, I don't actually mind if we have to get 1-0 to the Arsenal or 2-1 to the Arsenal now. I don't mind if we're winning 1 or 2-0 and it's quite unconvincing at times because now it's about results. Back then, it was early days. We wanted to see us all being scintillating and brilliant to watch and everyone's scared of us. Now we've gone past that. We have to just get 12 wins somehow. And I think what we need to do is now try and get across the line. I don't quite know or care how, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly
And I
that.
think that when you look at the 1-0s, the 2-0 against Wolves, the 2-0 against Villa away, 1-0 against Tottenham away, right back at the early end of this season, 2-2 with 10 men against Man City, not losing with 10 men against Brighton. Those are the sort of games that we might look back at now and go, do you know what? Let's just replicate some of those performances. Because if we're winning 2-0 against West Ham, 1-0 against Forest, we go into the next game in Man United, we go and take another 1-0 win against them at Old Trafford. We're starting to then just forget about them games and go, right, who's next? Right, it's Chelsea. Wow, we haven't been very convincing, but we won 2-1. Right, who's next? It's Fulham. Right, wow, we're beating them this year. Wow, it's 1-0. We drew 1-1 at their place. And last year we drew here. We've now won 1-0. I don't mind. I don't care if we have to stink it out. I don't care if we have to get George Graham's because this is how we're going to get across the line. And on the forward line, just quickly, I totally agree with what you're saying there. We can't afford any more injuries there. This is why I'd quite like to see him change it up a little bit now. I quite like to see a formation change. Now, the last time we won a trophy was 3 at the back, by the way. People forget this. Yeah, we lumped it long to Aubameyang, and we actually won the FA Cup by playing 3 at the back. He's not going to do this, but I'd absolutely love to see him change it a little bit. Now, there's 2 reasons why I say that, Lee, right? The reason why I say that is because when you go 3 at the back, where are we most stacked in our department at the moment? At the back, right?
At the back, yeah.
At the back. So we could put Calafiori or Tierney, if you want, into that left centre-back role with Gabriel and Saliba and have Timber and Lewis-skelly as your wing-backs. You've got Partey and Rice in the middle, and then you play Ødegaard behind Weri and Trossard. Then there's no, where's Sterling playing? There's no, Marino's now a striker. Marino can come on, just as he did against Leicester. Sterling, if you really want to, can come on in one of those forward positions. Tierney can come on at either left-sided centre-back or left wing-back. Kivior can come in at left-sided centre-back if he needed to. Jorginho can come into Partey or Rice. The subs that we've got actually can be utilised in a number of those positions if we was to use that formation. So this is where my football head that I have got, or what I have got of it, is coming into it, thinking maybe we might need to change it up a bit. But I don't know what your thoughts are about that.
No, I think maybe you have to do that. I don't know what he'll have to do, but you could change it. There's also sort of things we were talking about this morning, what you could do. You could actually play... I think Miles Lewis-skelly is a wide left player. I think he'd do a better job than Sterling. People have said Tierney would do a better job than Sterling, like Calafiori could come in, So there is options out there if they want to do that. But I also think that games like perhaps in Europe in particular, let's just go very, very defensively and do that. I don't see Arsenal, and this is why I think Saturday is very, very important to us. I don't see Arsenal scoring no more than 1 or 2 goals to the end of the season now. I can't see them getting more than that, So what we've got to do is make sure we defend properly and don't concede goals. As you said, Wolves was a clean sheet, 1-1-0, clean sheet on Saturday against Leicester. Okay, you'd expect us to get those sort of results as the teams in the bottom 4, and that is true. We have played 2 away games against teams in the bottom 4. But if I'll be really honest about that, it's been, these teams are fighting for their lives. I think if you look at Wolves the other day against Liverpool, you was been impressed with them. So there's going to be no easy games down there. So make sure you stay tight at the back, keep defending properly, and Dan, I don't care if it's 0-0 and we win 2-0 and 1-0 by set pieces and all that. They might have to come in key as well. We can rotate at the back, as you say. You've got Ben White coming back. So all of those things look a little bit better, But what I will say, and what I think is very, very important, is that the midfield keeps its shape, doesn't get too open. And I thought we've done that very, very well, even though it was poor performance against Leicester. We didn't panic. We kept going and got the result, So I'm with you. It may have to change things. I think maybe in Europe, because we don't have to win games in Europe. I know people go, "Oh, what do you mean about that?" We can afford to draw and win at home. We can afford to draw away from home. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that there'll be a little bit more less pressure in those sort of games for us, where we can just say, right, do you know what I mean? We're gonna get a 0-0 here or something like that, or maybe even nick a 1-0 win away from home. I think that's something that we can look to do. So, yeah, why not? Why not look to do that?
Yeah, look, I like the formation change because I feel like three at the back keeps us more resolute and solid, which is something that we've kind of prided ourselves on over the last couple of seasons, I suppose. Albeit we haven't been amazing at the back in terms of keeping clean sheets. We haven't
No.
kept a lot of clean sheets this season. So maybe that would help with that. I also think with the formation change, what it would do is it would allow Ethan and Trossard to have a little bit more free roll with Erdegaard to be behind it. It wouldn't be so much set in stone. And also, I just can't see Sterling playing again, Lee. I've got to be honest with you. I think it's been so bad every time I've seen him this season that I think he's definitely someone you use in last resort. Now, my next question to you is, does that mean that Marino starts? Now, a lot of people are thinking that Arteta will be stubborn, keep the same 11 as against Leicester and bring on Marino again as a super sub. I don't think he should do that. I think he's got to either start him if he plays that formation or completely change the formation, as I said earlier.
Well, for me, he's got to start because the performances from when he wasn't starting until the performance when he did in that 20 minutes was chalk and cheese. Not only did he play well when he scored 2 good goals, but his all-round play was good. But he also meant that Trossard played a lot better. Also, Declan Rice come into the game a lot better as an attacker, and so did Odegaard because they had a platform. And I also think he gives us a little bit more physicality up there. So I'll be very, very surprised. And I think that what you're going to have to look with Sterling to try and get his confidence back up is if we're winning with a 2-0 or something like that, just bring him in the last 20 minutes when the game's opening up and all that, and just try and get back and regain a little bit of form like that, Dan, because he looked like a man shattered on confidence more than anything, which is a worry. And I don't care what anybody says. If Arsenal aren't going to do anything, he has got to pick up his form. He can't have a performance like that again. He really can't, because I think that he got worse and he just dipped and dipped, didn't he? Like, do you know what I mean? So where realistically, dare I say, I don't like to say it, that, by him being taken off, done him a favour then. You know what I mean? And, and I think he probably thought that as well. Like, so listen, he needs to come back to some sort of form, because if he doesn't, we're screwed. We are really, we ain't getting Martinelli back till after the international break. That's another month away yet, So we need that. We need him for this month. So, hopefully, he'll get a bit of encouragement, and if we can get that free-flowing football we did back last season, hopefully he can benefit from it with a bit of confidence. But I think it's going to be very, very difficult. I don't see how you can start a player that's had such a poor performance, Dan. You have to earn the right to play. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't, and that is the big problem for me, really.
No, it is a big problem, and I'm with you. I think when you look at what Raheem Sterling did against Leicester, that was against one of the poorest Leicester sides or poorest sides in the league. I'm not saying West Ham's outstanding by any means. They're certainly better than Leicester. But if you can't perform against those sort of team players, I don't understand why you've justified a place ahead of some of the others getting into the first starting lineup. When Marino came on, I thought, wow, desperation times. I never thought we'd be in February, March time going for the league with Marino up top. I've got to say, he finished really, really well with both of them. I know it was a brilliant cross and a great header. Thought the second goal was very, very calm finish, mate. Very, very calm. So I've got to agree with you there. I think that he needs to now start. If we do go with a formation change, which I'd like to see, I don't think he gets into that side. However, if we do go with a focal point up front, which is what I think we probably will be leaning towards, I think he's got to go with Marino, and Sterling's got to drop back to the bench. Because I think with Trossard on the left-hand side, he looked a little bit better. Through the middle, it weren't really working for him. Ethan has been absolutely phenomenal, and I think it's the next one we've got to look after, really, because he's a talent, mate, on the right-hand side. And then you've got Marino through the middle, and it might just give us a bit more of a focal point, because there were parts of that Leicester game, when I look back at it, we actually played quite well in terms of from defence department, from midfield department. It was like you get to the final third, nothing. if we actually have more of maybe a focal point, there might be some opportunities for Ethan to put some crosses in, maybe Ødegaard to flick it up over the top like he likes with that pass to Marino, and then obviously Trossard more of a kind of wide man again. We might actually have a little bit more hope in the fact that we might have Marino up top, and he can at least act in a little bit more of a Havertz role, if you get me, Lee. So that's what I think we'll be leaning towards, mate.
Yeah, and I think that at the end of it, he's probably very, very much like Havertz in the way that he plays and everything like that, you know. And listen, it worked with us last season with Havertz coming into that role at the back end of last season. And listen, we hope that he does it. I will say this, that the two finishes were very, very clean finishes, the header and that one there. Maybe he's a better finisher than Havertz, you know what I mean? Havertz probably does a little bit more outside of it, but I think that, you know, like, he could be a better finisher. And if he is, that could be a bonus for us. Like, you know, I think that, you know, it'd be mad if we don't start him. And I listen, for the first time in a few weeks, if I'll be really honest, the starting 11, I'm looking very, very much in that formation to see it. You know, Donna's right there. I think that, I think there's a record to say that, you know, well, we've seen Havertz miss a header like that when it hit his shoulder. You know, and we've seen him miss chances like that, like, you know. So listen, they were two very clean finishes from him, like, you know. So I'm definitely with you on that. I think that, you know, you'd be mad not to start him in that game. Mad not to start him. That's my opinion.
I agree. Look, I'm going to love you and leave you, people. Lee's going to stay with you and go through the team lineup, what he'd pick and the predictions and the West Ham thoughts on a West Ham game. And I'm going to be going over to the Big Six because I've got to help Turkish out tonight. So I will see you over there after this stream, people. And Lee, I'll let you leave you with these lovely people. Big up.
Lovely. Cheers, Dan. Good luck with that. So I look at this and I'm going to go really into what I think the West Ham team should be, the Arsenal team, should I say, against West Ham. I think that Calafiori played very, very well on Saturday when he came on. So I think eventually that maybe that we could actually play Miles Lewis-skelly as a wide player. But for this game, I'm not going to. I'm going to go with. And put what you think in there, like, you know. Does Timber need to have a little break at the moment or not? I thought, I'm going to be really honest, that Timber had one of his better games. But I'm going to bring Ben White back for this game because I want Timber available for the Nottingham Forest game. So and maybe just need a break. So I'm going to go with Raya, Ben White, Gabriel Saliba, and I'm gonna stick with Miles Lewis-skelly at left back, like, you know. So, but I do think there is a thing that maybe in games, not so much these, you know, in between that Champions League game, Man United, I think maybe then Lewis-skelly could move up a little bit more forward and Calafiori come in, like, you know. Maybe that Calafiori will play against Nottingham Forest instead of Miles Lewis-skelly because we're going to be more of a defensive team. But listen, forget about Forest. It's all about getting a result against West Ham. Whatever happens, we've got to win at home against West Ham. So I'm going to go with Miles Lewis-skelly there because I think that West Ham will play a low block and we're going to have to break it down. So I think that I think that Ben White coming in will help us on set pieces and things like that. And also Lewis-skelly on the left-hand side can drop into midfield. Midfield, I think, picks itself. Thomas Partey weren't great against Leicester, but I don't think anybody was great in that first half. But Thomas Partey for me, Ødegaard and, of course, Declan Rice. And the three up front for me, definitely Marino up top, Trossard on the left and Weri on the right. Now, is that good enough to beat West Ham? It should be. I think West Ham are a very, very difficult opponent for us because they will sit in there and make it very, very hard for us. But I do think at the end of the day, we've got enough just to actually get the result and beat them and get the result here, like, you know. And what that does and what it will do is put tremendous amount of pressure on Liverpool the next day. But we've got to just take care of what we need to do and a home game. And it's so important that we win this game. I'm nervous thinking about this game now because obviously, you know, it is very, very important. It's no good seeing what we see yesterday, and then we play at home and we don't win, like, you know. So, listen, I think set pieces are going to be important. I think that Saka's being missed on that left-hand side for the corners, because we've not quite had the same success when you had Declan Rice and Saka putting it on point every time. But just before we go, I really do want to talk about his Weri. 17 years of age. What a performance that was against Leicester. And I don't care about his age, guys. I really don't. Like, it doesn't bother me, like, you know. But he's just got to now go and do the business and make sure that he just performs. Get him the ball, get him down doing what he's doing. What I liked about him is, and I think that this is the exciting thing about him, is he can go inside, he can go outside, he can do whatever. His right foot shot against Leicester proves that, you know, you can say, right, let's keep him out wide, and he can go out wide and smash it in and that, like, you know. So I think he's key, and I think that if Arsenal are to put in a challenge and win on Saturday, he is going to have to be the top player, like, you know, in the team. So it'd be really, really interesting. And then, of course, we go on to Wednesday after that, like, you know. So 3:00 kickoff. Weather looks like it's going to be a little bit of rain in the air, so the pitch is going to be nice and slick. And let's just hope that we can get the business done and hopefully get ourselves the 3 points. And that's all we can do now, guys. I think, like, you know, the players have showed over the last couple of games that they really want it. Listen, I honestly think that Leicester fans done us a favour because they started singing second again. I think that the players must have heard that, and we upped up our game. And I also think it was a very, very important point in that game is that Leicester would have been happy with a point at the end of it. So for us to, well, the pressure was on us to get to not make mistakes, but, you know, push the game when we was to leave ourselves open a little bit, which we did. But we got the goal, and then from then on, I thought we was fantastic. But there was a lot of pressure on that game because at the end of it, Leicester would have took a point and been very, very happy with a point. So it was important that we done that. Now West Ham is a little bit different. I don't think they've got anything to play for. It doesn't look like they're going to get into Europe or anything like that. I don't think they're going to get into the relegation zone. I think the team's below them a little bit too much, and of course they're building for next season, so they can really go here on Saturday with a little bit of not a free hit, but, like, you know, not so much pressure, and see how it goes from there. Yeah, Boston, it wound me up when they started singing that, because, like, second again, like, it's like what I would say, it's like a bit of an insult. Well, but at the end of the day, you know, it's listen, it is what it is, and fans try to wind each other up. But hopefully, it was a inspiration for us, and we get the result, and we get from there, like, you know. So I think it's a massive, massive game on Saturday, like, you know what I mean. Let's have a couple of quick little super chats here. Spot on, Lee. We have a home. What's that? We have to be strategic and aggressive. Play like there's everything to lose. We fail when we lose focus in important games like Liverpool away and Newcastle at home. Definitely, I think that's something that we got to do in there. Make sure that we are strong. Make sure that we are definitely up for it. I'm getting nervous thinking about it now, like, you know what I mean. If I'll be really honest, let's have a look. I am really, honestly, I am worried about it, like, you know. I like this lineup: Rayo, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Weri, Marino as a number 9, and LL Miles, Lewis-skelly. Yeah, I think that's an option that we could play. I don't know if we do it in that game, but yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, you know what I mean. I honestly think that we could actually play that, and I honestly think that Miles, Lewis-skelly would be pretty good in there, like, you know. If I'll be honest, I think that he'd do a decent job, and yeah, I think that that would be a way to go. I think that there's a couple of options in there. You know, for me now, I'm really honest, guys. Sterling ain't for me, like, you know, not after that performance, but as a sub coming on, definitely, like, you know. What's Lawrence got to say? Probably won't be positive. Let's have a look. Lee, why are there people in our fan base scared of change and refuse to admit this manager who has not got a clue as he needs? Listen, Lawrence, I get what you're saying and all that. Like, second in the league, had his best player taken down in Saka. Second in the league with Odegaard out for half the season. Pep's had players missing, and look how he's fallen off the ladder at this moment in time. And listen, you can say that he's won it over the last few years when his players have been fit as well, like, you know. So I get that there's going to be a conversation. I don't care what anybody says. I think there is going to be a 100% conversation about the manager if things don't go right. But listen, at the moment, you have to turn around and say, didn't he have a clue on Saturday? He did. He brought in Marino, and all of a sudden it got us the win. So I do think there will be a conversation, but for me, not now. I'm just thinking at this moment in time, look, what's happened in the transfer window? Can't change that now. Got to move on from that. The manager is not going anywhere. Let's get that out there. He's not. I don't think, even if we don't win anything this season, he's going to stay here. Let's get that out there. It is now just trying to support the boys and get them over the line. And that the players, by the way, I don't think have let me down in any shape or form this season. Maybe one or two games, perhaps Newcastle away, Newcastle in the home game, maybe. But on the whole, they've done well. And do you know when it convinced me that I was a little bit down about Arsenal at the Wolves game? I was very, very down about that. But when that's diabolical sending off happened, you just think, right, the world's against you. You know, you definitely know that the referee's against us and all that. But those players turned around and said, you know what? No, we're not having none of this. We're going to make sure we win this game. And they did. And do you know what? I felt, yeah, right. You know, like, these players do want it. Even if they're not going to get it, and even if things are going against them, they was definitely going to go for it. So, listen, I think from my point of view there, I think, you know, we just got to back the players. The players are doing everything they can. They work their socks off in that game. They work their socks off against Leicester. Sometimes, you know, it's important that you tell them that you're there for them. And listen, they'll be feeling like us if things don't go well and whatever. But they're not feeling sorry for themselves. So we've got to just back them and see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen on Saturday. I'll be honest, guys. I really don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen come Wednesday. I don't know. But I tell you what, we are hopefully in for a very, very good ride. Let's hope that we can win on Saturday, and let's get ourselves the 3 points. I don't care how we do it, by the way, neither. I really don't. I don't care if we don't win convincingly. I don't care if it's a scrappy old win, as long as we win. But don't get me wrong, I'd love a nice 3 or 4-0 win, like, you know. Listen, guys, thanks for talking. I've waffled on long enough there, like, you know. So listen, have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy whatever you're doing. Come on, you Gunners. Let's see if we can get the 3 points. Enjoy the rest of your night and take care.